Kassapa, even if someone eats only raw greens or only wild grains or only fallen fruit they gather themselves, if by those few practices alone a person were thereby to become someone who must endure suffering truly and severely, then it would be appropriate to say, ascetics must endure suffering. Brahmins must endure suffering. But that is not the case. A woman, a girl, or a person of lower standing may also declare, I now eat only raw greens or only wild grains or only fallen fruit that I gather myself. And they can keep such practices. If, by those few and limited practices alone, ascetics or Brahmins truly required great and extreme suffering, then it would be fitting to say, ascetics must endure suffering. Brahmins must endure suffering. Again, that is not the case. Kassapa, if at some time a bhikkhu's mind becomes free from hatred and free from the hindrances, and by the ending of the influxes, he attains the fruition of concentration and the fruition of liberating knowledge. And if he knows and realizes these for himself by superior direct knowledge and attains the fruit, then, Kassapa, the bhikkhu is rightly called an ascetic and a Brahmin. Kassapa, even if someone goes naked, even if someone wears hair-twined cloth and mixed garments, even if someone practices bathing at the third watch of the evening, Kassapa, if by these few practices alone a person were thereby to be someone who must feel sorrow truly and severely, then it would not be proper to say, ascetics must feel sorrow, Brahmins must feel sorrow. A woman, a girl, or someone of low birth may also declare, I now go naked, I now wear hair-twined or mixed cloth. I now practice bathing at the third watch of the evening. And they can undertake those practices. Kassapa, if by those few and limited practices alone ascetics or Brahmins were truly obliged to feel great and extreme sorrow, then it would be right to say, ascetics must feel sorrow, Brahmins must feel sorrow. But that is not proper. Kassapa, if at some time a bhikkhu's mind becomes free of hatred and free of the hindrances, and by the ending of the influxes he attains the fruition of concentration and the fruition of liberating knowledge, and if he knows and realizes these for himself by superior direct knowledge and attains the fruit, then, Kassapa, the bhikkhu is rightly called a Shramana or a Brahmin. While this was being spoken, the naked ascetic Kassapa asked the Blessed One, Gautama, where are those moral qualities? Where are those mental qualities? Where are those wisdom qualities? He asked this of the Blessed One. The Blessed One said, Kassapa, the truly worthy one of this world, the Blessed One, has arisen. Thus he speaks and declares the truth about the world. Thus he points out the Dhamma and proclaims it clearly. When a woman or man hears the Dhamma, they feel joy. When they hear the Dhamma, they take delight. From hearing the Dhamma, they are inspired toward the Blessed One. From that inspiration comes resolve. They reflect, if I were to abandon harmful actions and leave the household life to become a recluse, then this would be my aim. Not long after, they enter the life of a recluse. Thus they live, practicing restraint in the precepts and dwelling in seclusion. They take up the practice with a settled heart and attend diligently to their training. Kassapa, how does one become virtuous? Kassapa, when a person here refrains from wrongdoing and abstains from harmful speech and harmful actions, that is their moral quality, as described in the Yamakasutta. Sometimes certain ascetics or Brahmins accept offerings with a sincere heart. They practice peaceful conduct. They abandon the coarse, wrong livelihoods and the false, harmful ways of earning a living. They give up those wrong livelihoods and false livelihoods. This restraint is their moral quality. Kassapa, when such a person is virtuous in this way, they have no fear of restraint. They do not fear kings or powerful friends, nor do they fear angry enemies. Likewise, such ascetics have no fear because of their moral restraint. They are endowed with the noble ethical qualities and so enjoy the purity and bliss that comes from being blameless. Kassapa, this is how one becomes virtuous. Kassapa, these are those moral qualities. Kassapa, how do those ascetics restrain the senses? Kassapa, such ascetics do not take forms seen by the eye as objects for grasping. They do not take what is heard by the ear as objects for grasping. They keep restraint of the eye faculty. When they hear a sound with the ear, they do not take it as a cause for clinging. When they smell an odor with the nose, they do not take it as a cause for clinging. When they taste a flavor on the tongue, they do not take it as a cause for clinging. When they touch a tangible object with the body, they do not take it as a cause for clinging. When they know a mental object with the mind, they do not take it as a cause for clinging. They do not grasp with the sense doors. They keep restraint of the mind faculty. Being endowed with this noble restraint of the senses, they enjoy a deep, tranquil happiness of higher mind that is free from disturbance. Kassapa, in this way, those ascetics have closed the doors of the senses. Kassapa, how are those ascetics endowed with mindfulness of the 7 factors? Listen. These ascetics are mindful when they go forward and mindful when they turn back. They are mindful when they walk and mindful when they stand. They are mindful when they sit and mindful when they lie down. They are mindful when they are awake and mindful when they are asleep. They are mindful when they speak and mindful when they remain silent. In all these things they are aware and mindful. Kassapa. Thus those ascetics are endowed with mindfulness of the 7 factors. Listen, how are those ascetics of glad mind? They find joy in simple bodily coverings when they are sufficient for the body. They find joy in simple food portions when they are sufficient for the stomach. When they go to some place, they go with only the small amount they need, and that is enough for them. Thus, the ascetics are glad of heart. They dwell in wilderness places, forests, under tree roots, at mountain bases, on rocky slopes, in caves and secluded hollows, in remote wild stretches and rugged mountain caverns. From among such remote places they withdraw and practice solitude. Thereafter they turn from the alms food they have taken, set aside their food and cloth as if no longer attached, and settle the mind firmly on the goal of calm and quiet. They make an effort to remove afflictions directed at the world and dwell with a mind free from such afflictions. By removing those afflictions, the mind becomes pure. The mind, freed from the defects of the hindrances, is free from mental afflictions. Greed and aversion are gone. The mind is calm and collected. Restlessness and remorse are removed. Serenity remains. Doubt is gone. Skillful discernment is present without uncertainty. By removing doubt, the mind is purified. Listen, suppose a man borrows and engages in business. Does his business prosper? From that does he gain joy and come to ease? Suppose a man is ill and suffers. Does he later recover from that illness? From that does he gain joy and come to ease? Suppose a man is bound in servitude. Does he later gain release from that bondage? From that does he gain joy and come to ease? Suppose a man is a slave with no household of his own. Does he later escape from that slavery? From that does he gain joy and come to ease? Suppose a wealthy man takes a long and dangerous journey. Does he later finish that journey and return? From that does he gain joy and come to ease? In the same way, those ascetics see in themselves the absence of 5 burdens: debt, illness, bondage, lack of freedom, and being driven by worry on a dangerous road. They see that they are freed from these 5 burdens. When one who has been freed from these 5 burdens sees this, joy arises in him. From joy comes gladness. The body of one who is glad relaxes. In that relaxed body he feels ease. The mind of one who is at ease becomes absorbed in concentration. Freed from sensual desires and freed from unwholesome states, he gains the first fruition. He gains the second fruition. He gains the third fruition. He gains the fourth fruition. These are his mental qualities. Kassapa. These are those mental qualities.